Hi everyone, it's Joy here, and I'm excited to share with you 5 cards using the Mini Slim Diagonal Strip cutting plate. Now here is that cutting plate, along with the You Have My Heart coordinating stamp and die, the Mini Caps Alpha die, the Swiss Hearts embossing folder, the Mini Slim card bases that I will be using in Lollipop, Granny Smith, and Cookie Monster. The cardstock that I'm using is Sugar Cube, Cherry Pop, Lollipop, Granny Smith, and Cookie Monster. I'm using Oreo and Cherry Pop ink, foam sticky strips, Bits and Pieces hearts, glossy accents, Copic markers, and grid paper. Now here you can see on this die, it's got great stitching detail around each one of those strips when you die cut this. So there's the 3 colors of cardstock. I'm going to die cut this once from each one of those. And as you can see here, when you pop out all of the little strips, that is what has the stitching detail. And then you've got this great little frame that you can do some inlaying later. Now here is Sugar Cube cardstock. I'm using that same die, and on the back of it, I'm just using some purple tape to hold that in place once I die cut. I'm doing this because I want to now insert this into the Swiss Hearts embossing folder. I want to emboss all of those little strip pieces, and I just thought it would be easier to keep it together by taping it together onto the back. I'm going to run that through my die cut machine, and then now we've got all of these little insert pieces, all of these strips with cute little embossed hearts on them. So now I've got my Mini Slim card base in Lollipop, and then I've got my frame that I've die cut from the Mini Slim diagonal strip die, and I've adhered that down with some liquid glue, and now I'm just going to insert all of these white heart strips. And I'm just going in order, so all of the hearts will still be running the exact same way as they were die cut in the machine. And when this is done, you've got this great Lollipop pink frame and these really pretty strip pieces that have dimension with the embossed hearts from that Swiss Hearts embossing folder. So I'm going to do this for all 3 of those colors I mentioned earlier. So now I'm going to come in with the images from You Have My Heart stamp set, and it's got an owl, a teddy bear, and a cute puppy. It has the heads and the bodies that are separate. I'm inking that up with Oreo ink in my MISTI onto Sugar Cube cardstock. Both are Copic friendly. And I'm going to come in and just do some Copic coloring. And I've got my gray colors here. I'm using the W's. They're kind of a warm gray. And I'm coming in with that dark W7. Now I'm coming in with the medium W4. And then I'm going to blend it out one more with the W1. And then you've got this great cute little gray owl. These little critters are so darling, and I do love that their heads are separate from their bodies. You could actually put one of those little wobbler action pieces behind their heads, and their little heads could wobble when you touch it. So now I'm coloring in the beak and the feet with some orange, coming in for the cute little bow tie in some greens. I'm making the 2 hearts on the heart on the bear and then the heart on the envelope for the puppy in reds. And then I'm going to come in with these browns, E31, E33, and that's my medium color. The E31 was the light color, so I colored his belly and his nose light. E37 for that little bit of that darker color on the bear, the shadow part. And then I'm going to come back in with that medium E35 and just kind of blending that out, coming back with that E33 and blending everything together. I wanted to bring in a little bit darker color, so I brought in that E29 for just a little bit of a darker shadow around the top of his head and, you know, by his arms and around his cute little belly. And again, just using the rest of the colors the same and blending that out. I'm going to add the E33 to that E31 on his little muzzle and on his belly. And he has a cute little bow tie as well, and I'm coming in with some blue greens for that, adding a little bit of R20 for the cheeks and the ears. Now we've got the T1, T3 for this puppy. We wanted him to be a gray puppy, a little bit of T9 for the really dark shadows, just blending everything out. T5 for the medium color, and then coming back in with that T3 on the top part of his face and the darker part of his body. So the T1 and T3 will be on his little muzzle and his belly as well. Coming back in and just adding a few darker spots, shadows above their muzzles where it would be a little bit darker if you looked at it. Again, R20 for the nose and for the cheeks. RV21, RV14, and RV13 for this scarf here. Again, just blending everything till I get a nice good blend. Coming in with C1 for the envelope just to add a little bit of shadow, makes it look like it's actually white. Now when I'm done with all of this, I'm going to use the coordinating dies to cut out each one of these images for all 3 heads and all 3 bodies, and then we will adhere that together. So here are the die cuts. They line up perfectly. I am just using Scotch removable tape. It holds these down perfect without ripping or tearing your cardstock. And now I'm going to come in and stamp the sentiments, and I need to mask off some of the words because I want to spell them out using the Mini Caps Alpha die. So I am just taking off the word owl, heart, and berry off of those sentiments. I'm inking those up with Oreo ink, peeling off the masking tape before I stamp it down onto my sugar cube cardstock. Once that's done, I will trim those sentiments out. Now I'm going to glue these little heads together on these little critters, and I'm kind of doing them a little bit sideways like they're looking at you all cute. And I'm going to add some foam tape behind each one of these little characters. I want those to have dimension. And then I'm going to glue down each one of the words. So I die cut those letters again from the Mini Caps Alpha die using Cherry Pop cardstock. I did want a little pop of red on here. It is super, super cute. And I'm just going to line all of those up and adhere the rest of the sentiments. So the bear is going to say, love you very much. The owl says, I'll always be your friend. And the puppy says, you have my heart. Aren't those super cute? Now I'm going to come in with the little bits and pieces hearts and add some of those red hearts all around to each one of these images. And I'm going to add 2 bonus cards. So at the beginning I said 5 cards. So we had all of those die cut strips from the Lollipop, Granny Smith, and Cookie Monster cardstocks here. So I just die cut a white frame, glued all of those in on a Lollipop and Cookie Monster background, coming in and adding some of those white hearts from the bits and pieces hearts, and I'm going to adhere those down. And the sentiments I just stamped in Cherry Pop ink, and that is glued directly down to the card base. I colored those little critters the same as the ones before, and I popped them up on foam sticky strips for some dimension. I love making cards and getting a couple bonus cards from the original cards, and didn't these just turn out so great? And that mini slim diagonal strip die really is a great die to have in your stash. I want to thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. You can find all of these products at the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com.